Well, good morning. This isn't where I was expecting to be this morning. I was hoping to go down to North Wales and shoot some big scenes, but the snow's closed in and it was pretty treacherous just getting out my drive, so I've come local again, down to Delamere Forest. And the nice thing about snow is it changes everything. Somewhere which is normally quite maybe bland and straightforward becomes different, so I'm going to head off into the woods and see what I can get. Now perhaps the biggest choice I have to make today is what I'm going to shoot with. Now I've come out of my 35mm cameras because, as I said earlier, I hope to shoot in North Wales and I had some specific shots in mind. So I'm looking around at the conditions and I'm thinking black and white. But I have more than one black and white film with me. I have HP5, which is a fast, grainy black and white film, and I have Fuji Acros or Acros, which is 100 speed, very fine grained. Now I'm in two minds. The fine grain is beautiful, it enlarges well, it'll show all the detail and at high contrast. But then again, the HP5 has that really sort of gritty, atmospheric look, and that might suit these sort of dull, dark, snowy conditions. I'm undecided. Now whilst I'm walking around looking for a composition, it does strike you that it is really, really cold and it's quite miserable out, but it's beautiful. And if I don't come out, you know that frustration of being stuck in. Well, I don't want to be stuck in, so I'm going to have to make an effort. And as the light improves and my eye improves as well, I start to see compositions. It may take a while, the first few shots usually aren't that good, but that'll improve as the morning goes on. I don't know if you get those moments where you keep getting drawn back to the same scene time and time again. Now when I first arrived I saw this fallen branch in the water, snow covered, leading into the rest of the woods, and I couldn't really shoot it, I couldn't see a composition, but I kept coming back to it. I made a bit of video footage for the vlog and it jumped out at me a bit stronger. So I've set up with a fairly standard focal length. Now I've shot this with a 50mm lens and I've also got a short zoom on here, and I've cropped in slightly closer, about 55, 58mm, just to give me a slightly tighter crop. Taken two frames again, used a +1 exposure for the second because there is quite a lot of white in the frame and that will confuse the meter on the camera. After a little bit of wandering around, I've found myself another very nice composition. I decided not to walk too far because the problem is that everything looks pretty much the same in the snow, so you may as well look closer at what you've actually got in front of you and work with that. So I've got this composition you can see behind me hopefully. This is again some felled branches with some autumnal leaves on them, which are now well past the best. And I'm shooting with a modest wide angle zoom lens, about 35mm. And I've cropped right in, I've got the sky right out of it. Don't want any sky in there. I just love the way the snow is lying on the branches. Well, I've been wandering around for a while without much success, but I'm glad to say I've found something else which is really promising. I've got a small clearing here, and I've done a lot of clearance work around this area, so everything's changed from last time I was here. And I have a small pond at the base of a tree. Now the nice thing is the top of the tree has a little canopy of snow resting on the pine needles. Now that produces a lovely effect where it sits on top of the dark area. It sort of gives it a purpose, a focus, a meaning, and it also fits very nicely into the vertical composition of a 35mm frame. Now in terms of my camera settings, it's quite straightforward. I have a short zoom on again. I'm running about 70mm, so you know, a very gentle telephoto effect. And I really want to cut out the trees to the right of the frame because they are pushing in and they're creating a bit of a barrier to the eye. I want the eye to go straight through to the lovely sweeping trees and that canopy of snow. So a little bit of a zoom tends to work well in woodlands. Wide angles, they include an awful lot of detail, and it's very difficult to actually provide that composition and focal point which draws the eye in. Well, there we go. 3 or 4 hours in the forest. Lovely, cool, clear morning. And hopefully some nice photographs. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you again next time.